Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head back to Scotland once again and we're going to visit our oldest microbrewery that we have at home. So as some of you might know, that of course is Broughton Ales and they're from Biggar, and we've got their stout beer to have a look at this time, which comes in at 4.8%. and it's called the Dark Dunter. So the guys at Broughton Ales actually told me this is one of their favourite beers that they do, and I've heard very good things about this one. One of my favourites from the brewery is the Old Jock, and I do enjoy the 6.2 IPA as well. The Black Douglas was one I remember. Their beers are all pretty good, let's just leave it at that. But thank you to the guys at Broughton Ales for sending me this beer, and also thank you to my dad for bringing this one over from Scotland for him. I actually received these before I went to Australia a year or so ago, and my dad found that there was still 2 left from the stash that I had, so thank you to him for bringing these out to Sweden with him. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Broughton Ales. There will be more in the near future, of course. There's all the usual social media down there. Make sure you check that out. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. And as always, to those of you watching back at home in Scotland, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. And there's a number of Scottish reviews already there, so make sure you check them out. So anyway, to tell you about Broughton Ales. So the Broughton Brewery was founded in 1979 by David Younger and James Collins in a former abattoir in the small village of Biggar in the Scottish Borders region. And Broughton Ales is actually regarded as the first Scottish microbrewery, and they marketed themselves initially to customers looking for a craft beer experience as an alternative to the mass-produced lagers and export beers, the things like Tennant's and McEwen's and all of this sort of thing. So Collins and Younger released their first beer, which was the Green Mantle Ale, to really great success, and the brewery became really well known throughout Scotland after this, and the beer was so popular that locals actually started referring to the brewery as the Green Mantle Brewery, and now it's considered one of the kind of cult classic beers in Scotland actually. My dad really enjoys a good Green Mantle beer. So the Green Mantle Ale really kind of helped them increase demand for sort of small batch or craft beer in Scotland, and so they introduced another couple of beers. This was the Old Jock Ale, which is probably my favourite one from the brewery. They introduced the Merlin Ale and also the Scottish Oatmeal Stout as well, and each of these beers were actually named after a well-known character from the Scottish borders. So in 1995 the brewery underwent a change in ownership, and it was taken over by Gillis Litchfield, who introduced the Beers with Character moniker, and he released a series of 10 bottle beers, and basically he wanted to increase the brewery's exports, and he began doing this in 1996, and the brewery has grown quite substantially since that point, and today the brewery exports their beers to Italy, France, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Canada, the US, and also to Japan as well. I think they're going to Poland now as well. I've seen these beers in Poland when I was over there, but they've got 8 different bottle beers, or more than that, I think it's maybe 10 actually. They've got 10 permanent cask ales, and they also have 15 or so different seasonal beers too, so they've got quite a few things for you to choose from. And just to list a few of these for you, in the bottled range there's the Merlin's Ale, the Black Douglas, the Border Gold, the Oatmeal Stout, the Exciseman's 80 shilling, the Gilly, the Green Mantle Ale, Proper IPA, which is one I've still to try, the 6.2 IPA, which I really enjoyed. They've got the Blonde Beer, which I think is a fairly new one, and also the Organic Lager as well. So there's a lot of beers for you to check out. And if you enjoy the sort of old school sort of English style craft beers and things like that, you probably will enjoy some of the Broughton beers too. And personally, I'd recommend that you have a look at the Old Jock Ale. The Green Mantle, of course, is a cult classic, and the 6.2 IPA is pretty nice as well. So make sure you check those ones out. The Merlin's Ale is good as well. And, you know, if you like your big bready and slightly spicy beers, actually, you probably will enjoy most of the beers that Broughton do, because they do have a little bit of that kind of bready, kind of spicy character. It's a sort of trademark of theirs, if you like, and personally I do really quite enjoy it. So let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer now. So as I mentioned to you, this one is a 4.8% stout. It says on the side here, Borders legends say the Dunter, a malevolent red-capped goblin, inhabits ruined castles and guards the English-Scottish borders from intruders. The evil creature is impossible to outrun, but we like to think he'll let you pass if you share a wee dram of his potion. Taste the character. The truth of this legend will never be known. However, it is irrefutable that the Dark Dunter is bursting of oatmeal and chocolate aromas, complemented by dark roasted malts and rich aftertaste. So it's got 1055 original gravity, 27 EBUs, 110 EBC, and it's got 11 ingredients. It says here the malt base is pale ale, crystal, black, roasted and chocolate malts, and the hops in this one are First Gold and Fugos, which are both English hops, and Pearl, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a German hop. So yeah, it should be quite nice. You can see on the side here, I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little quick look at the artwork there. You can see it's the kind of standard Broughton artwork on this one. I do like these things, these kind of shields that they put on them. They're really nice. You can see the Broughton horse there, and of course that's on the back of the bottle too, and it's a plain red bottle cap on this one, and that's the little passage there that I just read to you. So without further ado then, let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting then. I really do enjoy the Broughton Ale, so hopefully this is a good one. So, as you can see, a nice smoky opening on this beer, and we'll get it out and into the glass. That's pouring nicely. We'll leave the rest of it in there. There's maybe about a third of it or a quarter of it left in the bottle, so we'll pour the rest of that out just a little bit later on. But this beer looks really, really nice actually. So if I hold it up to the light, you can see, if I'll just tip this light and let you see it a little bit actually, you can see it's a nice kind of rubyish chestnut colour actually. It looks very, very nice. There's a solid finger of a kind of creamy, slightly beigey coloured head on this one, but it looks absolutely beautiful. You can smell some of the fruity esters off this beer actually as it comes out, and you can smell that chocolatey sweetness coming off it too, and that's without even paying too much attention to the aroma. There's some big bubbles towards the side of the glass there, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head, no visible sediment at all, but if I put my fingers behind it, I'm not sure how well you can see it, there is a degree of transparency to this beer, but probably you can't see it on the camera just because of how dark the colour of the beer is, but it's a nice ruby chestnutty colour. So yeah, definitely a very good looking beer. So let's have a look at the aroma on this one. Yeah, that smells really nice actually. There's quite a bit of red fruity character coming out of this one for me. I can smell these nice red fruity esters of the beer. Quite candied actually, maybe a little bit of raisins. And you can smell the chocolate underneath it, and when you sugar it up you actually start to get a little bit more of that chocolatey character coming out. There's a nice chocolate character in there, like I said. Some kind of bready notes. There's a little bit of almost biscuity and kind of roasted caramel sweetness coming out of this one. That kind of typical biscuity, sort of biscuit syrup malt actually. But it smells really nice. Yeah. That's a nice smelling beer, that one. There's a little bit of almost kind of woody and nutty character in there as well. But the aroma's definitely kind of quite roasted. There's some sweeter chocolate on top of that. You can pick up some of the toasted caramel as well, and a little bit of biscuity, almost cereally character from this one. And you can smell that almost brown bread base there from the malts. It smells really, really nice. And you can get a bit of earthy hop too. And for me, when you let it settle, there is a good little bit of red fruity ester coming out of this beer too. Reminds me of the candied fruit flavours that I always talk about, or aromas. It reminds me a lot of these kind of heart-shaped sweets that you get from the Haribo Star Mix. So yeah, this beer smells really, really nice. So let's get stuck into this one. So this is the Dark Dunter, a kind of stout or porter beer from what it says on Rate Beer, from Broughton Ales in Biggar, Lanarkshire, Scotland. Slàinte. That's nice. That's another really good beer. You know, once you get used to the Broughton Ales, you kind of appreciate they have this, it's almost like they have a base that they stick to. And they change their beers around a little bit on top of that. You have this nice bready character that just sits there on the palate, and then all the rest of the beer just builds up on top of that. They really have this kind of trademark malt base that they like to use, and for me, it works really well. Yeah, that's a good beer again. You know, if I always would recommend to people, have a try of some of these Broughton Ales. They are really, really nice. And you'll notice how smooth this beer is as well. That's another thing that I love about these ones. On tap, the Broughton beers tend to come out as a little bit sweeter, and they can be interesting in that regard too. The bottle condition ones for me come across as just a little bit more bready than the tap ones. The tap ones have a little bit more of a caramel or sweetness to the malt base. But I like the bottled ones, I have to admit, because of that big bready character. And you know, for me, it is the trademark of Broughton Ales to have this kind of bready and almost slightly spicy and grainy character to the beers, and you can definitely get that in this one. But yeah, this is really nice actually. So let's dissect the flavour a little bit more. In the middle of the palate, you've got this bready malt base in there, that just goes right across the middle of the tongue. As I say, that kind of signature, kind of grainy bready character that you get from Broughton Ales. There's a little bit of a kind of biscuity, sort of biscuit syrup kind of thing going on in this one. You've got a little bit of that biscuity sweetness going on. There's a bit of richer caramel in there, slightly toasted too, and in the middle of the palate you're getting these big kind of chocolatey malts actually. The balance of that malt base in this one particularly is really nice. I do like that it leans towards being a bit more sweet and a bit more chocolatey. That's something that I've not had too much with the Broughton beers before, apart from maybe the Black Douglas actually. Yeah, that's nice. I can see why they like this one. For me, this is just that little bit sweeter than their other beers. The old Jock Ale has a little bit more of a boozier character, but it has a big caramel sweetness, whereas this one is a bit more chocolatey actually. This is really nice. Yeah, it's good. The bready character is really nice actually. It is a little bit oatmeally, you can pick up a little bit of that, and the black malt character, as you move into the aftertaste, you get just a little bit of dryness from that, and it complements the sweeter side of the malt base that I was talking about really quite nicely actually. Yeah, that's a really nice beer. I mean, I can see on tap, I haven't tried this one on tap right enough, but I can see this one on tap being absolutely beautiful. The sweetness of the chocolatey malts and just that little bit of a thicker mouthfeel that you get from the tap beers, the cask beers, I should say, would be really nice on this one. The flavours, they've got the flavours perfectly balanced, but I can see on tap, just with that extra bit of thickness to the mouthfeel, this would be really, really top class. But even in bottle, it is really nice. So to the hoppy side of the beer, in the back corners of the palate you've got a little bit of earthiness just coming out. That'll be the Fugos, and I think it was Goldings that it said was in here too. So you get that smoother, earthy character, and as you come further forward, you get a little bit of grassiness to this beer, just a little bit, but the earthy character is kind of underpinning that. You can get some of that grassier character from the pearl hop coming out there. But yeah, that's nice. The whole flavour just balances quite well, and the thing that's interesting me about this one is you do pick up in the aroma a little bit of a kind of red fruity sweetness, but there's not too much of that in this one. It's just a very slight thing. It's nowhere near as sweet as I was expecting actually. So just behind the front curve of the tongue there's a little oily bubble, and it's quite a figgy character that's coming out of this one. It's really a kind of light figgy red fruit character that comes out of this beer for me. It's really nicely done. Yeah, definitely. I would say figgy. As you move into the aftertaste, you'll just feel that sweetness. It just kind of rolls a little bit, and you get that nice, juicy, it's almost even candied fruit aroma. As I say, the Haribo hearts that you get in the Star Mix sweets, it reminds me a lot of that, but there's a bit of a kind of smoother, figgy character to it. But overall, it's really nicely done actually. This is another really good beer from Broughton Ales. As I say, the beers are kind of tailored to a certain taste, if you like, and once you try a few of these and get used to what Broughton are going for, you will really enjoy them. My personal favourite, like I say, is the Old Jock, but the other ones are very, very good beers as well. Just try one of them, and try a couple of them and see what you think for yourself. I really enjoy these big bready beers, and in Scotland I guess when you've got the colder weather and things like that, to have these kind of big, thicker bready beers is really quite nice. These guys are definitely a little bit more old school when it comes to the style of their beers, in comparison to the likes of, you know, Brewdog and Fallen Brewing, Tempest, all of these people. These guys do kind of stick to the older styles, and they do it very, very well. So yeah, that's a really nice beer. If you enjoy a nice kind of well balanced malt base, a bit bready but chocolatey and black malt base, you will enjoy this beer. So in terms of the mouthfeel, this one, I'd say mid-bodied, definitely mid-bodied. Carbonation is very smooth. For me, this beer does have a little bit of an oily character to it, maybe even bordering slightly creamy, to be honest. The malt base overall is quite sweet. As I say, the chocolate and the caramel sitting there. There is a little bit of dryness from perhaps the grainy side of things, and maybe the black malt that's in this beer. The hops for me are very smooth as well. There's not even really that much dryness at all, just a teeny little bit at the front corners of the palate, and you do have just that little bit of juicy figgy character that comes out of this beer too. But overall, it's another very, very good beer from Broughton Ales, so make sure you check it out. Really good stuff. Like I say, more of a kind of old school style beer than one of these new world beers, but they do it very, very well in my opinion. So yeah, and this I should say as well, this is probably one of my kind of more top beers that I've tried from Broughton Ales. If I had to pick a few, it would be Old Jock, obviously. The 6.2 IPA is nice. Black Douglas as well was good, and this one probably. If I had to pick 4 beers from Broughton Ales, for me, those would be the top 4. But the other ones are very good as well, so give them a go and see what you think. But yeah, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. If you have tried this beer yourself, do let me know your own thoughts on it in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers from Broughton Ales are as well. I will return to them in the future and see if I can try the things like the proper IPA and the blonde beer, and the oatmeal stout as well as one I haven't reviewed. So I will return to them in the near future. So I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Let me know your own thoughts on this one, like I say, and until the next time, slange you just now. This is the Dark Dunter from Broughton Ales, a really nice kind of chocolatey and quite sweet beer. Make sure you go and check it out for yourself and try some of the other Broughton beers too. Slange you just now, and I'll catch you soon. We will return to Broughton Ales in the fairly near future. Cheers.